Well, it's the 24th of April, and look at what we have here. All the blooming trees were going great gangbusters, blooms and leaves, and Japanese maples were doing their thing. And then we got a record snow, and we got record cold. It's 27 degrees right now. And yesterday I covered up my Japanese maples. There's one that I covered up. And then I also covered up another one over here. Another one beyond. This was a killer. We had that really late frost last year. It was late in May. Well, I say late, maybe around the 11th. And just blasted everything. Take a look at that. There's no coming back from that. 27 degrees. And from what I understand, this is going to be like a 2 or 3 day stint. Contorted filbert. Little Japanese maple under there. We'll see if that survives. I was able to get everything, of course it's so tiny, I was able to get everything down around it, so maybe there's enough warmth from the ground that would keep it from freezing too bad. We'll see. Another Japanese maple. And last year, this one was in a protected enough spot that it didn't get damaged. Not going to be so lucky this year. Okay, Winston, let's go. Go home. Landscaping rocks. At least you never have to worry about them. This got blasted pretty bad. There might be some leaves on this particular Japanese maple that will survive. So this little batch right here looks pretty decent. And because they're a little bit more sheltered, they might have survived. So I may not have to cut off all of these. They're not as vibrant as they were, but time will tell. It won't be long, and I'll be able to tell what's on its way out and what's going to stay. This little tree, I built this apparatus to basically put a tent over it to protect it, but you can still see where the edges are turned under, and it's just not the happy Japanese maple that we all love. So this, even with all the measures that I took to cover it up, it got down to 27 degrees and stayed there for quite a long time. So unfortunately, this tree here is about the same. See how curled under and damaged these leaves are, and I'll be cutting all of them off. You pretty much have to take it all down so that it has a chance to come back. If you defoliate, then it's pretty much forced to put out more leaves. And there are some advantages to that. So what I do is I come in and, like this area right here, there's no question these leaves, they've had it. So come in, cut off the whole leaf stem. Of course, I have in this video also these beautiful trees. It almost looks to me like the rain came first, then it froze, then the snow came on top of that. And it almost seemed to me that some of this was almost insulated by the snow. And snow is a pretty good insulation. So these branches were all the way down to the ground. It's kind of cool looking. At the same time, it was horrifying. You know, it's beautiful, but kind of scary at the same time. So my little miniature elm over here, it survived a class on bonsai, and it doesn't look like it's been damaged. All these leaves look very nice. Just the Japanese maples, they're so fragile. That's my take on this last frost that we had. Of course, we got contorted filbert here. Now, this doesn't actually look like it's been damaged, so you know, this whole ice and snow and everything, the way it came so weird, who knows? Maybe some of these leaves aren't going to be as damaged. You know, I would definitely wait for a week or so before I get too radical and taking off a bunch of leaves. You can tell some of them right now, they're goners. But this contorted filbert, I mean, who would know anyway whether this was damaged, because it's wilted all the time as far as the leaves. The leaves in the summer don't look like much, but man, it's great in the winter and spring, all that twisty. What this is showing me is that I still have a whole lot to learn about foliage and damage done by frost. So you can see these little leaves here, how damaged they are. This leaf here, I mean, it's not going to come back. This leaf here, it's done for. So yeah, I'm going to have to cut those off. Something else that's better will come back. So what happened? What happened with these leaves? With the frost? First it was the rain, a misty rain, and I have read and heard that you can supposedly, I mean, I can't prove this, but supposedly the idea is if you provide a mist to your leaves while the frost is hitting it in an even way, not just a little bit here and a little bit there, that in fact the mist will protect it from being frostbitten. Don't know if that's true or not, but I have heard it. So maybe that's what happened, because it was a lot of mist and then the mist froze, and so you had ice on everything, and I saw that and I thought, well, this is it, this is the end. And then the snow came on top of that, and it lasted at 27 degrees for many hours. So what are you supposed to think? Yeah, I got to defoliate everything. Same thing over here with this tree. It got damaged. Not a lot, but some, and I've already cut off some of the damaged leaves here on this. It actually must have been protected pretty good by the house. Also, I had a kind of a tent kind of arrangement up around this one, and so it really got a lot of protection, and I'm glad I did it, and apparently that did it some good, because it's looking really good in spite of the 27-degree weather. Now there is some dieback, of course, but that's not from the frost, that's from just over the winter. Same thing over here, a little bit of dieback. Probably the worst spot on this, that doesn't look so good. You know, I'm kind of picky about my foliage. I'm a foliage guy, even when it comes to flowers. So, you know, I just as soon start out with really nice looking foliage. And so if this is going to be all damaged, and it's not any worse than what you would have with wind damage, later on. I mean, it's going to end up looking like that. But I kind of like to start out with good looking foliage. This over here, I think, got the worst of it. I've cut some of this off already. But again, you know, it's kind of baffling to me. Some of this is so damaged, it's just coming off by itself. It's just falling off because it's dead. But there's so much of this that survived, it just blows my mind. So live and learn. I think that's what you have to say with these things. Mother Nature is tricky sometimes. A lot of different conditions apply. See how bad that looks though? Yeah. That has got to go. And you just go back to where you see some buds, and let those buds live, and let the tree do what it knows how to do, and that's grow foliage. If you have to cut everything off, then yeah, it does look bad for a couple of weeks, but in the end, you're going to be happy you did it. This little guy down here, I had it completely covered up, so the warmth from the ground I think helped it out. And these leaves are kind of wilty looking right now, but that's just kind of the way they are on this particular one until these are brand new, until they open up a little bit, then they'll look more like a fan. But that did really well. This stuff will come back. There's new buds just waiting to come out. All it needs is a little bit of encouragement. That's what you're doing with pruning, by the way. You're encouraging some things and you're discouraging other things. And so what we're doing here is we are encouraging new growth, better growth that is not damaged and will give you better color in the long run. Okay. I think that gives you an idea, as Tim talks about everything. And even, you know, knowing that as much as I have tried and tried with these Japanese maples, I can totally be wrong. And they totally surprised me this time with what they did in springing back from all that horrible, horrible frost.